or not it was the person that was actually there, or whether or not it was somebody else.
True. And learning from things, I wonder if people remember that we said we were going to be surprised that whether if Maanyaa erupted, because maybe they won't notice that Maanyaa is erupting, and we'll surprise them that way.
Yeah, maybe nobody will notice.
It is.
We're just gonna gaslight the hell out of everybody and be like, no, we never said that.
Nah.
It's definitely not on video. You could just go double check.
With the Vandella stream, I kind of realized that sometimes, you might be involved in a situation but may not be involved in a situation, you know what I mean? It might not be about you.
Oh, yeah.
But also how to respond to something like that, not to react.
Yeah.
Rather than, sit back, think about it, and if you're confused, maybe approach the person first rather than just going on social media and try to reprimand them and shit. You know what?
Exactly. Now, in a case applying to Pele, although I had this vision of gaslighting Pele. Madam Chief of Gases, right? Gaslighting Pele is an interesting thing, which is where I would say you want to avoid volcano-splaining to Pele what she should be doing.
I really don't think it would be a good idea to try to gaslight a god, unless you are also a god yourself.
Yeah, and the amount of gas that's being produced by Pele at the moment is, well, I guess you might say it is gas.
Speaking of gas, hi everybody, how's it going?
Hey.
Speaking of hot air.
Yay!
Hi everybody, welcome back to Debate Hub, and this is our very special Landon exclusive show about volcanoes and how those are and what's going on with those volcanoes. Do you want to show what the volcano's doing right this very second?
Sure.
We're gonna start off hitting hard. Hell yeah, look at that spice.
Ooh, look at that beautiful
Mountain Go Burr.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is down the line of Fissure 3 of Mauna Loa's eruption. Right now, well, it kind of comes and goes. You'll see. Right now, it's only maybe about 20 meters high. If it gets up above the horizon, it's getting into the 100-meter height thing.
Well, before we get too much into the details, we should introduce ourselves. Hi, I am Chesh. I am the Master Debater. Welcome to my channel. This is where we are. This is specifically Debate Hub. With me, I have Landon and Maanyaa. Landon, who are you and what do you do? What do you say you do here?
I am a planetary scientist and somebody who is pleasantly confused about what Pele does, attempts to make guesses and are amused at how they go astray. It perhaps I would say as an astronomer, I study planets, and this is one of those planets. Pele's activities in Hawaii is one of those processes that happens quickly that we can see things on and be very confused. And science is about being puzzled and asking questions, and Pele puzzles us.
Pele likes to just tell us we're wrong all the time.
He's like, psych!
Psych.
Yeah.
You thought you knew.
To be fair,
you thought you knew.
Be fair, we said we'd be surprised if Mauna Loa were erupting next month. So we're
surprised.
See, that's about 100-meter blobs there. Height. That's 300 feet for those who are metrically challenged. We have to get that in there. See how it comes in. But look at all the gas, right? You talk about gaslighting. Yeah. Look at all that gas coming out.
Yeah.
About gaslighting. She's look at all that gas. In the most literal sense, it is gas and it is literally lit.
Yes. It is quite a large amount of gas coming out of these vents. But yes, so we volcanology is some of the things I get amused at, and to be fair, we didn't say it wasn't going to erupt. Some people.
To be fair, we didn't start the fire.
But, and of course we also have the lovely Maanyaa back from whooping noses of neutron stars. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yes, that was exciting. But I realized I was here urgently, so here I am.
So would you say that she is back from outer space?
Well, she's kind of transcendent, so maybe she's back from inner space.
She just walked in to find that sad look upon your face.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what started of this earlier this morning. I want to go and look to see what's happening at right now. There is a link here. Okay, so here is the current thing, and we see it's a little less bloopy here, a lot more gassy, a little less bloopy into that spot. But again, it comes and goes. Although over on the side, there's a new glowy spot over there. That's new.
Oh yeah, look at that. We can't see it. It's behind Maanyaa's head. Maanyaa, get out of the way. Maanyaa, please.
If I move it,
Maanyaa, please. It's okay. I moved Maanyaa. Put it back.
Okay. There we go.
Boing.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it would be better to put everybody up to the top instead.
Yeah. Why not?
Yes. So yeah, Mauna Loa is erupting, eh?
Has there any has there any new fissures or something like that appeared with this eruption?
Yeah, that's that thing in the bottom right.
Let's go. We're looking down the fissure, but let's give a little bit of tour as to what's happening, shall we? This is
the joys of the live stream production. Is I'm just moving everybody around while we're doing this because I don't know what we're gonna get shown.
Yes.
You're getting a tour of a volcano sitting on your computer.
Yes, and in fact it was and having the feeds come over the ocean here. So here is a high altitude shot of the top of Mauna Loa. So this caldera, Moika is 4,300 meters above sea level, and you could see the spine that the lava went down. I mean, what happened early on is the lava came out at the summit. And this seems to be very typical of the historic records where it starts erupting at the very top, and within an hour or two, it shifts down one of the two spots, right? So one of the things that shifted towards it created a fissure and began draining down. But this is below the summit, and so you get this really nice high speed flow of lava coming out, because essentially the magma chamber is above the hole and draining out, and that's where you get these very high volume lavas that then travels for a long way, and you can see that it kind of plays. It's kind of creates road hazards, right?
I like to imagine that somewhere there is a like the Rock is like journeying to the center of the earth on a boat with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So very early on, it picked this area called Fissure 3 and started really pouring out there and pumping out the lava volume flow. At this stage, the lava was producing about it was close to 900,000 cubic meters an hour. That's about 250 cubic meters a second.
So what's that in? What's that in the lesser measurement?
3 megapipes.
Oh my lord! I did not see that coming.
Oh my nose!
Sorry, trademark Canada.
Landon's on a roll today. Oh my god.
Dang.
Landon's got like hot fire as much as Pele does right now.
It is. Let's see in terms of volume. So let's talk about it in terms of per hour. So we're at 900,000 cubic meters an hour. That's around 1.2 million, almost 1.2 million cubic yards an hour. That's about a 250 million gallons of lava an hour.
Wow.
I mean,
250 million gallons. Oh, wow.
She doesn't. We were impressed with Kilauea doing 10,000, 20,000. A limit-sized swimming pool in 90 seconds. I mean, Pele is doing that easily per.
Pele's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, she's like, you want more? What's the definition of more?
You think that's impressive?
Yeah.
And so as somebody, it is quite a bit of it was looking in terms of teaspoons. We got 1,000.
How many teaspoons?
So almost. I mean, per around. I guess I say per hour. Let's do per second, right? Because that's probably an easier thing.
I'm just now imagining like how many Minecraft buckets of lava are we looking at? First, we need to figure out how big a Minecraft bucket is.
Exactly.
About 50 million teaspoons a second.
Oh my goodness.
That's a lot.
So if you're majoring, you just have to keep going there. So it is, and it is. The other thing, of course, is the amount of gas. Right? We're talking about gaslighting. We were talking about Kilauea having 1,000, 2,000 tons of sulfur dioxide a day. We were seeing 800,000, 900,000 tons per day coming out of Mauna Loa. Now it's about the last thing I saw was it's down to only 120,000 tons per day of gas. But like I said, and in the Hawaiian tradition, Pele left the House of Ferns, Halima'amau, and went up the long mountain, is now dancing on high, and she puts on a show.
She turned on the salsa.
It's been 38 years since she's done this in Mauna Loa, and it's the longest known pause since humans knew about this. In terms of the Hawaiian about this, and but in case you say, well, therefore she's built up all this stuff and is ready to put it on for a long time. The second longest pause was followed by the shortest eruption in history. So it's probably a mistake to say definitively what Pele is going to do next.
I mean, ain't that always the case?
Yes, it's fun to sort of and figure out. So here's a better thing of what's happening with Fissure 3. So the camera that we were seeing is essentially to the left, looking down the stream. So we don't see the stream because you want to have the camera upstream to prevent it from being
melted,
washed away. But this is the so-called Fissure 3 event that is coming out. And if we look at stuff, so here's more of. Now you see, so we're looking down the stream, and the lava stream is going away from us in this camera view. Now it's hidden a little bit by this hill there, but it kind of comes and goes. So it's a mistake to count Pele out and say she's going to stop doing what she's doing. Mauna Loa itself. Let's go back over here to see her handiworks. Mauna Loa is this is the biggest part of the Big Island. So here's the Big Island of Hawaii, and the green is Mauna Loa, Kilauea is this little cute side thing here, and such. This is the and if you look at this last seamount stuff for the island that's forming up there was in 1996, and Mauna Loa previously was in 1984 before it started erupting here. This volcano active near Kona was in 1801, but again, and then Haleakala over in Maui was in the 1600s. And fortunately for the volcano, for the telescopes on this volcano, it was like 4,000 years ago. So it's a little bit different. But if you look at the big long mountain, I mean, how do we call it a big long mountain? Because this is a long guy. We see last month's show for sort of some of the stats of Mauna Loa, but it is nevertheless over 4 kilometers higher than the ocean, and it goes another 7-8 kilometers into the ocean.
That's cool.
It's a big mountain, and like geovolcanoes, they have spines. They have 2 spines. So here's the top. Mokeoweoweo is the top. It's like how the Mau is over to Kilauea, and it has these spines. And what typically happens is that she starts erupting at the summit. Lava comes out there and kind of spills around, and it eventually starts going downhill, draining into one of these spines, going downhill. And that spine will then choose to go one side or the other. So predicting where it's going to go is kind of like trying to predict exactly where a raindrop is going down your windshield. You can kind of get a guess, but it can sometimes surprise you in various ways.
Yeah,
we've had.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, I was just like, it's not only the topography of the island, I guess. It's also like the lava itself, like what density it is, what temperature it is, how fluid it is by the time it reaches the bottom. So
and also how dedicated the channels are in going down the line.
If
go ahead.
If the channels are like shallow, so you'll see the lava starts spreading at the top as soon as it hits starts going down the top. I think because it's more fluid at that time, because it's like the highest temperature, and then as it starts going down, it becomes like the parts become dedicated because the lava's cooling down, so it's not that viscous anymore, and it's not like that liquid anymore, so it's just gonna slow down.
Yes.
So I think
yes, it is. It's actually, and so the viscosity, the temperature, so forth, are there. Mauna Loa's lava is a little slightly different than Kilauea's lava in terms of composition. Mauna Loa's lava tends to be more runny, higher temperature.
How do you like your eggs?
Flow rates.
How do you like your lava?
Mauna Loa style, as opposed to I mean, I guess you would say is that people like St. Helens would be the hard-boiled eggs. Mauna Loa is the over-soft, runny types.
Nice.
What kind of egg are you based on your proximity to this volcano? Do this Quora quiz now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's more like egg toast type eggs with runny stuff. And Mauna Loa typically has these sort of what we call radial vents, where it will start at the top and it finds a hole from the top coming out the side, and then the beginning part the chamber above the hole just drains into great volumes. That's I think one of the reasons why we think it has these high volumes where basically the lava is flowing downhill. But it can sometimes surprise us as to how much it does. The Great Eruption of 1859 had this flow which went into the sea and beyond the sea, was the longest recorded lava flow in history. And the writer Samuel Clemens, otherwise known as Mark Twain, wrote Roughing It while staying at the Volcano House over here, and he traveled over this spot and had sketches and
That's cool.
diary inserts about this eruption.
That's daring, I
for
say.
quite some time. He
Walls.
Well, and so some of his descriptions. I mean, he's an amazing writer. Some of his descriptions are really quite profound. I would encourage you to check out some of his writings.
Feline
maybe
is
we
asking.
can have a look at
Right.
we can have a look at a few of the descriptions of his in the next episode.
Sure.
Feline is asking about, you say that stated as being runny, but is there an actual scale of viscosity? Sorry.
Yes.
Viscosity.
Yes, there is a and it tends to coincide with the amount or lack of silicates. Silicates tend to make the lava more pasty because of their composition.
What is a silicate?
Something with silicon in it. And,
so you're telling me like sulfur, how much like window caulking is in my
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that. Also, sulfur is another thing. Sulfur type silicates. Sulfur silicon compounds make it pasty, make it more toothpaste like and less like mouthwash. Temperature is another big factor too.
Right.
Because the ocean crust is very thin compared stuff, mantle stuff can come up at a relatively high temperature, whereas continental volcanoes tend to only have heat warm up rock in the middle, and you get sort of like a double boiler effect.
There is no escaping There is no escaping the Taco Bell references when talking about volcano eruptions. And I would like to reach out right now. Taco Bell, you should sponsor us.
Yeah.
So more time, let's say, so you have these two rift zones where the eruptions, occur here, but you have lots of other spots where it will go and erupt from. It's a kind of an interesting set here. So looking forward on it again, Long Mountain. I mean, this again is this massive mountain. You see, there's Maanyaa over on the side. That's again why the Hawaiians call it Long Mountain, because it goes across the set, and you can see the patterns over the years of flows coming from Mauna Loa, right? And if we look at here, we see the ages, right? The orange stuff is recent as you get towards green, you get older and older flows, and so it kind of spills around and keeps going. Again, it starts from here, but tends to go down one or two spines, and it's kind of anyone's guess as to where it goes. There are these radial vents that come and will flow for a long time. There's others that go on the spine and head towards stuff. So we have Kona over here and Hilo over here, Waimea over here. You'll hear us talk about the saddle road. There's a highway that goes between Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea here, that kind of is the main drag, if you will, and that is in a perilous state right now.
Do you think that our guesses, like, over time can get more accurate, provided we're allowed to collect more data?
Well, I think yes and no. Yes, in that more data gives us a better understanding of the processes. We have to avoid volcano splaining and say the data is this, therefore blah, right?
Right.
It's a mistake to say tilt-meter is this, gas is this, therefore da 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 da, right? Part of the problem is some people have taken data, seen the patterns, and pronounce what's going to happen. And it's sort of like saying it's 13 degrees and cloudy, therefore tomorrow it will rain.
Right. That's why you do percentages instead. You say there's the X percentage chance that based on this current information that this is going to be what happens. Whereas that's not inherently the case when it comes to the volcanoes, because we just don't have the information yet to make that close of an estimation.
Some of it is chaotic. Some of it is also, and so there's a danger of getting lots of data and presuming you know what's going on. Now, on the other side of the coin, having no data catch you by surprise. So had we had weekly shows, what would happen from I'd be surprised if Maanyaa was going to erupt next month, to wow, it looks like earthquake activity is getting high, higher rates. The expansion is going. It looks like something might happen. And unlike Kilauea, Mauna Loa goes from magma's underneath to, in an hour or two, it's up the top and going, right? It goes very quickly, and almost all the time starts at the summit. And then it becomes this waiting game of which direction is it going to go. The thing you can say is that Mauna Loa is going to cover the island. I mean, to point out, 40% of the island has been covered by a flow in the last 1,500 years, right? It covers lots of stuff and has historically had lots of eruptions. Here's a summit over here, and it comes from here, but all these flows have come down the line, and I guess the best thing you say is going to continue going forward. So right now, the solar dioxide tons is going down to 30,000 tons. It was 100,000 the day before, and 400,000 the day before that, and about 900,000 the day before that.
Landon, do you mind zooming in on this a little bit more?
Sure. Okay. So let's go.
Perfect.
This Fisher 3 event. Fisher 3 event is what we're seeing, and one of the things that also happened was people were predicting that saddle road that goes between Kona Maunyaa over to the east to west side of the island was going to be overrun in a couple of days, and that appears to not be happening. It appears that she's changed her mind, perhaps, or she had an additional lung. We just didn't know what we were talking about. So let's look at tilt meters, right? We see Kilauea tilt meters here. So it gets a little bit difficult to tell because Mauna Loa jiggles a lot, right? It has these sometimes has these big earthquakes where basically it wobbles quite a bit. And again, giant mountain wobbling is an enormous change inside. It really is quite a as back to what I was saying. So it's hard to see the deflation of events because it's so noisy. What we can do is look at the this is the distance across the caldera. So the caldera was going bang, right? It all of a sudden that top caldera, that was about 6 by 3 kilometers, expanded by a third of a meter. That's a foot or so. And for something that big to expand that fast, right?
Yeah.
When people saw the tilt meters going, they're saying something's coming, and within an hour, it popped, right? Now the other side of the coin.
Does it also? Sorry, if you go back up to that one just for a second. Does it?
Sure.
I don't know if maybe I'm not reading it right, but it does look like it's also starting to level up just a little bit at the very edge there.
Yes.
Like at the very end before it spikes, there's just like a little tiny bit of an uptick.
Yeah.
Well, I guess some people might say, the pimple is biggest before it pops.
Right, because like in January, it's like below 0, and then by November 20th, it's just above 0. So that might not be a very big change, but it is like a slow increase over time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see over the 5-year period, right? If you look at this 5-year period, you say, well, it didn't erupt here, it didn't erupt here, it didn't erupt here, it didn't erupt here. All of a sudden it goes bang, right? Because there was a thought that in mid 2021 that it was heading towards an eruption. We saw lots of earthquakes. We saw some minor elevation of gas, and we saw the thing doing an uptick, right? Much more than it did this time. So just because it has an uptick doesn't mean it will do something. Now, the other side of the coin, if you look at the height of the summit has deflated. So this was the size.
Right. Okay.
This now is a case where it has dropped. The height of the mountain has has dropped by almost a third of a meter.
Oh wow,
So
that's a lot.
So yeah,
that's a lot.
Yes, that is like level 100 stuff.
Hey! Mario got competition.
And so what's going on here? Well, you might think one model is to say there's a magma chamber underneath the summit, and the magma chamber has been draining at that huge rate. It was started off at 900,000 cubic meters an hour. That drain causes the top of the mountain to sink in. Now, will it collapse like Kilauea did? It hasn't in the past, and it's had blitz before. But this is one of the things that we're seeing is that it's a sagging. And now, one might say, well, look, it's kind of starting to slow down. But that's it. Try to project on that to say, well, the dots are moving like this, and therefore the eruption is slowing down. Is cherry picking?
Right.
Someone might say, well, right now, when we look at the image, let's see here. Let's go. When we look at the movie image, what we're seeing is less of an image. Where's the live show? Come on, let's go back to see what she's doing because she's putting on this nice show. Here it is. Yeah, so you might say, well, look, it's not as gassy.
Widescreen us, Landon. Or full screen us. Hell yeah, there.
Yeah, and so you say, well, it's not as gassy, but if this was the Kilauea eruption, we'd say, wow,
right,
big stuff, right? Of course, it's a little bit more blippy there, a little bit more gassy than it was before.
I'm enjoying looking. If you look really closely at like the horizon line, you can see like the heat wave.
Yeah, shimmering.
You can see it's shimmering along. Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
She's gaslighting flat earthers.
I was actually gonna ask you about flat earthers. I was like, okay, so how do these volcanoes function on a flat Earth model?
Oh, look at wow! Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Just wow! Look at that fountain display.
Yeah. Anyway, but
Dubai has got nothing compared to this.
See, listen, Landon's not answering my question because he doesn't have an answer. Because there is no answer. It's stupid.
So try answering your question again. I'm sorry, Pele.
No, good. I just said, how would volcanoes work on a flat Earth model?
Oh God.
Would they go on the density thing and say it's not gravity, it's density?
The uppity droppity.
Yes.
So we do have a more serious question for the live chats from Feline that asks, is there an overview of the cross-sectional depth of the various layers that also shows the superposition of eruptions?
So you're talking about vertically inside the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really nice to have. It probably digging into a mountain that big would be a big project, and it might cause an eruption because you dig into magma chambers and be kind of messy. We would it would be nice if it had little isolated earthquakes where it go pop and we'd see the waves, but instead it's this boiling cauldron of pop called harmonic tremors that just keeps vibrating, and so there's too much vibration to get a sense of. We have models that try to guess what's the conduits underneath. We have a general guess. However, there are times where it does something that defies the model. So our knowledge about the plumbing down deep is ooh. Sorry, this is one of those things. Yeah, see, it's getting a little bit more. So if you said, hey, the eruption is slowing down and it's going to be done by tomorrow, you'd probably be wrong.
Right. And if you said that the eruption is going to keep going at the same rate, you'd also probably be wrong.
Yes. Don't volcano-splain Pele. She tends to laugh at your
pitiful attempts.
Yes.
Oh,
mortals.
So here's an earthquake plot. Again, here's the top of the mountain. Make it way. And we see these are plots over the past week. And you see the size of the circle is showing you. Also, here's the plot showing you like size, magnitudes, earthquakes. So lots and lots of earthquakes over the past week, and so it is very quaky up top. And the presumption is that what we're seeing here. Oh, the color shows you depth, right? So red is within 1 kilometer of the surface. Orange is within 5 kilometers. So most of the earthquakes are near the top.
Right.
That presumption is that there's a magma chamber up there near the top, which is draining out the side. Remember, the fissure 3 is way over here.
Right.
So the lava came out of the top because that's where poked a hole. It kind of went this way a bit, went to the south, to southwest, and then decided to go northeast, and then it came open up a bunch of fissures, and now it seems to come out fissure 3. So it's as if the stuff that's up here is uphill draining down. And you might say, well, then why is it seemingly slowing down? But remember, slowing down is it's not quite at Kilauea's rates, right? It goes from a mega pint a day to maybe a mega pint a week.
Oh, there you go.
It's still going to have. Pele's still involved in alleged domestic violence because she and her sister are arguing over the god that they are both in love with, and
the love triangle.
And they, it's volcano deities.
She's destroying people's property, allegedly.
Well, the other side of the coin is she's saying she's making children, right? Her love is her children.
And this is also her property anyway.
Yes. And
renters.
Some Hawaiians are saying she's giving you the courtesy to stay on her land. You should be grateful.
Yeah. I mean,
share your whiskey regularly with her, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we see from the point of view of longitude, we see that they're sort of spread out over where the earthquakes are. Depth wise, there's a couple of things like here's 20 kilometers deep down here, but most of it are shallow up near the top, just well above sea level, heading down there. If you look at the rates of events, we had a lot of we had earthquakes. So the earthquakes are kind of diminishing in terms of the number per day. This is like earthquakes per day. So, by the way, the reason why it's small here is that day hasn't finished yet on this graph. But if you're taking 15 earthquakes a day, still a pretty good rate. And you look at the plot over time, and we see it basically they're shallow. Now it's getting less and less, but she's still going forward. It's hard to see the deflation-inflation events with a set, but we'll see from point of view of photos. So again, we invisibly call this volcano porn.
Pele's showing off, man. She's got her OnlyFans out.
So it's fissure 3.
Wow. Holy guacamole, that's beautiful. It's like it's just cutting straight through the mountain. Oof.
Yeah. So the summit's it's way up to the the summit is up to the upper left. The camera that we're seeing is on that little hill behind it. So that's why it's kind of hidden by this spot. But still, it's still doing its good rate of stuff. Let's look at another.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That's ooh. Holy guacamole.
I can see why this is called porn.
Yeah. It's flowing.
Wow, the sound.
We don't have audio. Hold on. Do you want me to turn audio on? I can turn audio on.
Yeah.
Hold up. I will add audio.
Okay, so let me go here.
Yeah.
Will it Will it do audio?
I can do audio. Just give me a second. I got to turn it on first.
Just doing producer things.
Yeah, give me 1 second. This is
there.
And the stream volume on. Whoops. Whoop. There we go. I also got to turn it on for the outside. Hold up.
Yeah.
I got to change my settings.
One way I could do is I could take. I'm hearing it in my headphones. I could put the headphones next to the microphone.
Oh God, no! Don't do that, please. Please no. Right. I have standards.
All right, let's look at again what's happening here.
You on your end. For this. On your end, you're gonna have to unmute, not your microphone, but make sure the stream isn't muted on your end.
Oh, so let me unmute here.
Yeah.
But then I have it on headphones. So let's go, and you'll hear mostly.
Yeah.
Right there. Okay, so let's see if we can hear you'll hear mostly helicopter, but you'll hear the banging of the lava as we get closer to the edge.
Are you guys getting audio? I'm not getting audio. We're not getting the audio, Landon. What are your stream settings? Do you have the stream sharing audio, or is your stream sharing desktop?
Stream sharing desktop.
If you try to change the window and change it specifically to this window, it should fix it.
Okay, so if we come back to here.
Yeah, so share that browser window. At the bottom where it says screen share, you should get a pop-up that says swap window. Swap specifically to that browser window that you're using.
So if we go to here, okay, I see the.
If not, you can send me a link and I can do it. Yeah, there you go. Now pick one. Make sure the volume's turned up.
Okay.
Should work now.
And go there and.
Yeah. Oh, it went to full. No, it opened a whole new window for you. We're getting a full screen. Exit full screen menu. Okay, pass me the link. I'll pull it up. You can keep talking. Pass it to me on Discord. Okay. I'll take it.
All right.
I can.
So, yes, we have the technology, or at least Chesh does, because she knows what she's doing. We just pretend.
I got you. I got you guys. Don't worry about it. There we go.
Yeah, it's really great to hear the sound.
I guess we're supposed to say, you see, Chesh, there's this thing called broadcasting and video casting.
Oh my God.
And you can have your microphone.
Please. Okay, if you want to switch yours back to your full display, so that way when you start switching around, we'll be able to see everything again. But
okay,
let me just
change windows, screens there. Go live. Here we go.
Okay, cool.
So this is nice in that you'll hear towards the end the rumbling of the mountain, but I want to.
Cool. So then we can do that, and then I can just make a quick adjustment in I have to do some adjustments in my actual computer settings to get this to function properly. So it does take me a hot second.
This is why it's good to have a producer doing things, and a director for that, because it's.
Yes. This is system sounds. Okay, that's all good. We should have. Okay, there we go. Now I have desktop. 2 desktop options. Hooray! And then we're gonna switch this one to this one.
So before we go, before you hear the sound, I'm going to sort of give you a notion that we see that the fountain's pretty high, but now it's being hidden by the splatter cone, because the camera is back here. The camera is back at behind, up in the corner of the screen, And so this part of the wall is hiding some of the stuff. And there's now a fairly good lake draining down this way. So some ways it might be deceptive to see the live view is seeing less, because it actually is coming out at a fairly good rate. It's just sort of hidden behind this wall of the spider cone.
Yep.
Shesh. Oh yeah. Okay, now I can see it. I couldn't see it at first on outside on the stream. Okay.
Yeah, it took me a second to get it pulled up.
Yeah.
And you'll see as she progresses the movie, we've actually got a reasonable lake going down the line with the flow heading that way. So were you able to get the movie there, or is it?
I'm just adjusting my volume mixer here. It should be good in a moment. Let me just double check my cable input here.
And in case you wonder why there isn't a camera looking like this, the answer is this is a very crumbly rock, right? This is not this is very, very unstable. Stuff, falls down here all the time. And if you try to put a camera, assuming you could land on this thing, and you didn't get splattered, the camera would fall in on a regular basis.
You would want to place equipment somewhere it can stay for a long period of time without getting damaged.
Yeah.
So you can install it and retrieve it without putting yourself in danger. So you have to be very selective about where you can put your cameras.
Noticing also the helicopter pilot is upwind from the vent. It would not be good to be downwind from this thing, even though it is low sulfur silicate stuff. It is still, there's a lot of gas coming out, and it would not be good.
I think so. The gas and the heat alone. The gas and the heat alone, if you just inhale it, it's gonna just burn your lungs out.
Yeah. So this is why I'm going to go back there. I'm going to do a doors off helicopter ride, because then you get the notion of, you get the heat, right? You get the infrared thing. You're not protected by a glass bubble. You're, the chills off the helicopter, and you're right there with the elements, and it's.
That was really loud. I don't know if that came through for you guys. Hold on, let me turn that down.
Play it so we.
Okay, it's not coming through. It's going to take me a hot minute to figure this one out, because it's stuck in the background somewhere. So continue. I'll keep futzing with this and see if I can get it.
Here's another thing looking up. Let's look at this. This one here is looking up the channel. I'm going to turn the volume down, because you see. So you see this lava channel, and this is going to be an important part to understand about what the thing is doing. It has enough of a flow rate that it's building sort of dikes on both sides, but this process coming from the Fisher 3 vent up here is failing as the flow goes down the line. But initially, what we'll see here is essentially it going up. We'll see it basically heading up the channel to see what it looks like.
Okay.
Remember, the top of Mauna Loa is right up here. This is the summit where it started erupting.
Oh wow!
And it's come down.
So it came all the way down here. Wow.
To this.
That's a long distance to cover.
And so again, the you get some spectacular spots here. This kind of activity builds a splatter cone. This is different than a cinder cone, because you essentially have molten rock splattering, building up rock as opposed to a pile of rubble, and so you can tell this earlier on, because the splatter cone is not as well developed. The splatter cone is beginning to hide the set of hide the.
All right, I got it fixed up now. Do you know which one you want?
Again, you can see how this river of lava comes down. It's flowing fast enough that it's able to keep glow. If it slows down, it solidifies and then turns into a round. So if we look at pictures at the end of the lava flow, we're not going to see all this red glowy stuff except maybe at the nighttime. Here we see the splatter cone developing more and more.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous.
Okay, so I got it pulled up. If you guys are ready.
Sure.
Let's
please.
Awesome. Do you know which one you want? You're gonna have to look on the internal.
The one that was in the middle.
The middle one. Okay. So I should be able to make it bigger. And now, if I hit play, you should be able to hear it. So guard your ears just in case it's really loud.
I can hear it. Wow. Oh, the noise, yeah.
So you hear that low rumbling. That was
yeah.
kind of low doing this thing.
Yeah, wow.
So the question becomes, well, what is it going to do? And the answer is, if you look at the eruption map, this is the eruption map of yesterday. So let's look at this map here, and here's the scale. It's sort of kilometers. See the kilometers and miles for those things. And here's the top of the top summit. This part here, and it started off with an hour of the tiltmeters going way off scale. It broke out at the top in the caldera. It actually went both directions, spilling out of the caldera, wow. And it found a channel that it stayed inside, dropping almost a kilometer. Actually dropping about 2,000 feet in the other end. Here's Fissure 3, and there was other fissures that happened along the way, but this was the main one we've been seeing pictures of, and we see these channels, these sort of yellow lines of channels that it gets slow enough that it starts to get covered into tubes, and so it was heading at a reasonable speed towards, here's the saddle road, here's the main the main east-west drag between Hilo and Kailua-Kona. And this thing was heading down its way, and people said, well, it's only a matter of a couple of days before it cuts off the road. Mm-hmm. But what happened was that this front slowed to a crawl because these tubes started breaking open. It had a breakout here, and it has a spot here and here. So the advancing front got slowed down because the channel started breaking out to the sides.
There wasn't enough lava to push through. There wasn't enough lava to push through.
Here's Fissure 3 way down here, and this was the front where the main flow was, but that tube started cracking and it started going this side and that side. And the result of all this stuff coming to the side is there's not enough coming to the front, and so this thing is slowed to a crawl. You could easily outwalk this advancing front, and the more it breaks open, and what they've just said is there's another big breakout here.
Oh,
that it's just started, and they haven't seen where the lava is flowing from that area. So to assume that all this flow is advancing to the front and will go and hit the road is a bit of a mistake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we don't know where it's going to
go. Yeah, it's like Madam Pele,
because that tube is not it's not like a this is not like a hyperloop.
Oh my God!
This has
got leaky stuff all over the place, and so we started seeing. So they watch on the sides and started seeing this stuff, and then it had a major breakout up here to see what happens. And so the more it breaks out here, the less it's going to come out here. Now, this stuff still has some stuff behind it, a little drain, but one might say if it keeps going to the side, this front may not reach the road, but this thing could. Depends on what Pele is doing. So how do you know? Well, if you look at the island itself, here's the top of the summit, and one of the tricky things to say, well, what is it going to do? The fissure is around here, and it flows down this way, and it can go from here downhill is either off to this edge or off to that edge. So if we look at what the topography looks like on this side, we have this sort of center cones, and this, it's called a saddle road for a reason. This is the saddle. It's coming down the saddle where if it goes this way and heads, it'll head towards Hilo. If it goes this way, it'll head towards this part of the island. And so,
Maanyaa, you said you had a question?
No, I didn't have a question. I was just like, people again trying to predict what Pele will do, and it doesn't happen.
Right.
I'm not hearing her.
Oh, that's a problem. How about now? Try again, Maanyaa.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Like, I thought that Landon couldn't hear me.
Yeah, that's probably, I must have clicked something while I was doing something. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
That happens. Now, I was just saying, like, people trying to predict what Pele and her children would do, and again, disproving, everybody. Like, everybody thought, oh yeah, it's gonna, like, block off or cut off the saddle highway, but it didn't do. It just slowed down and stopped.
It is, however, like a better safe than sorry situation, right? Like, you really don't want to get caught out because you don't know what Pele is gonna do.
You're right.
Now, part of the problem is this road, this major east-west road, is used by lots of Hawaiians, commutes. Like, for example, there are major hospitals over on the Kona side, but a number of people that work there live in Hilo, and they commute back and forth. If this road gets cut off, then they'll have to go the long way around. It'll be quite a pain in the butt. One of the problems they're facing is looky-loos, people driving down this road and rubbernecking. This is meant to be sort of a zoom from here to there, and instead they're slowing down or even stopping because this road, even though it's a 2-lane highway, doesn't have much of a shoulder. There's lots of volcano rock on the other side, and if you kind of pull off to the side, it's like pulling off to the side of a narrow 2-lane road. You cause traffic to slow down. And particularly if you stop it's a pain in the butt. Another thing that is really important to understand for those people who want to go and see this stuff is that this area here is a training center, a military training center where they used to do things like warfare training, and they keep finding unexploded ordnances out here. So if you decide, hey, I'm just go here and park and walk across, you'll be walking across places where there are other things besides volcanic bombs that could go boom.
Oh,
it's not safe. And they
are you saying they test? Are you saying they test mines and stuff?
And well, I don't know if they have mine stuff, but they've had military exercises and shell stuff and so forth. It's a military camp here.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, they found some unexploded ordnances again in the area, and the emergency people, when they find somebody heading off because they're going to go up there and get a bird's eye view, and they have to go off and get them, they get to be kind of cranky because they have to go over areas where it's not safe either, and they catch you, and they're not in the best of mood. You don't want your rescuers ticked off at you, so
it's like like people. So what we are taught in our like risk management stuff is like the minimum number of casualties, the better. And when there's a building on fire, they said don't go inside to save anyone or to try and switch off any electrical, circuitry or anything like that. Stay out.
Sure.
Let the firefighters come in and do the job because they want to keep the casualties as low as possible because people are inexperienced. They panic. They do shit when they're, in panic and inside a precarious situation. So please be regardful of other people's safety, because now what you're doing is you're forcing other people to come and rescue you. And so you have put yourself in danger and you have put them in danger. So you're increasing the probability of number of casualties that might happen. So yeah.
And where it's going to go is it's hard to say. Here's this turn in the saddle road, right? So if you look at the map, where's the map? The map is, come on, map. I know I have a map here somewhere. Where's the map? Map. Oh, here it is. Here's the map. Okay, so here's that turn in the road, and here's these old cinder cones, right? It's heading this way, right? So let's look at the topography and see what does that look like. I think this is going to give you a better view here. Here's those cinder cones. Here's a turn in the road, and you can see that we're at a saddle point. That's why it's called Hamalua Saddle, because if it goes this way, it's heading towards that part of the ocean. If it's going this way, it heads down towards Hilo, right? It literally is coming down towards the middle, and depending on which breakout, it might go this side, that side, or both. Now, there's these bumps here. In fact, it's really nice, and you're driving along here, you get these are very beautiful cinder cones to go by. But if it heads straight north, it's going to run against these bumps, right? It has to go uphill. So it's going to go turn this side or that side, depending upon if it's here or here or here or here. It really is chaotic to try to predict what it's going to do. If it went straight, if it continues going in a straight line, it's going to run into these bumps and have to go somewhere. And it kind of depends halfway, one way or the other. Will it run into the saddle road? Well, that depends upon how much magma is ready to come out, and whether or not, because one possibility is this fissure 3 slows down, crusts over, solidifies, and it breaks out someplace else.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to depend upon how much material is coming up into the mountain, as to a little fissure deciding to slow down and it freezes over is just going to cause it to break out someplace else if there's still a lot of upsurge coming out. So this is the big thing that Hawaiians, my question is will it head down this route and come into the ocean this way, or will it head down towards Hilo the other direction? And if so, how far? Well, that depends upon how much material is there. It depends on how long this eruption is going. In fact, it really literally is just going down, splitting down the middle, and it's anyone's guess as to is there a multi-month long eruption with all kinds of stuff coming out like it was in 1859?
Yeah.
Or is it just a short thing where it'll go pop,
rain,
fizzle.
And then, is it going to starburst? Like, it's going to go this way, and then it's going to go that way, and then it's going to go over here, and then halfway down over here, it's going to go this way, and then also this way at the same time. Like, the topography is not that simple.
No.
Because, there's other factors than just... There's other factors than just, the direction or the shape of the land is less of a factor than it would be if it was like rainwater, for example.
Sure. And the rate that, when it was back back up to like this level over here, people, the rate it was going, it would have reached the road within a couple of days, but it slowed down to a crawl and almost stopped. And then we realized, well, wait a minute, this tube is got holes in it and it's leaking out this side. And now this isn't to say that it won't be able to continue this way. It's just that front may have been slowed to a crawl because it's only material that's draining, and that so what they're trying to do is get an idea about these breakouts down here and over here and here as to what the rates are, as to whether or not the thing. Now they see from fissure 3, it's a little less vigorous than it was before, but that's a fairly common thing for eruptions to start off, because a lot of pressure, overpressure, it comes out and slows down.
So there's a question.
By the way, when you go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to mention, you hear the word observatory road. The observatory road is not the observatories on Mauna Kea. Observatory road there is a atmospheric observatory up here.
Oh, okay.
So when you hear observatory road, don't think Keck telescopes on Mauna Kea. It's a atmospheric sniffing observatory over here, which is continuing to sniff, is doing just fine. It's just that again, there's confusion. So we saw remember we saw the pictures of the road.
Yep.
being buried. That's this road heading up to this atmospheric station, not the thing up Mauna Kea.
So I got a question from chat. Hypothetically, is it or was it possible to deflect the lava stream away from the road if it endangers the road?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if the lava stream has gone to a crawl like it is, where it's not really advancing, you can try to build up a barrier and divert it one way or the other. I mean, right. I guess I'd say if the lava stream is advancing, then you can stop it from advancing because it's not really advancing anyway. On the other hand, when you saw that stream coming out from Fissure 3 way up here, that's just lots of rock, and you just like stand back and go, ooh.
Yeah, it's just maybe just like you're better off. It's because it's so unpredictable and because it's so powerful, trying to deflect it, we just don't have enough information to be able to do that reliably enough and predict reliably enough to make it terribly effective, I think would be the way I would put it. Not that I know what the hell I'm talking about.
But I think that's a good way, a good notion. So from Fissure 3, this is almost 20 kilometers, right? We're on sort of day 10 or so of Fissure 3. It's moved almost 10 kilometers. Actually, I'm sorry, 20 kilometers.
We got a question as well from Letty, and Rez also asked a question, but I'll get to that afterward because it's a little bit different topic-ish. And Letty asked, is there any kind of imaging that gets done after eruptions, like this kind of approximate where it will spurt if it occurs again soon?
So help me understand the question.
So is there after imaging that we get that we can look and see, well, here's a hole there, here's a vent there, here's a thing here, or here's what's broken here. If this goes off again soon, we can kind of guess that these things are going to break or pop out faster than they would have originally.
So there are sort of thermal images. So when you look at it visually, so I think that's a good point that they're a good question they're asking. This is a picture on December 7th of the end of that lava flow. And you see the only spots you can see are little bits of red glow at the edge because this lava's gone to a crawl where the only spot you see is the edge where it's kind of crumbling and creeping forward. There are certainly a couple of spots up here where the tube is sort of broken open. You can see the skylight. But for the most part, visually, it doesn't look that way. Now, at night, you would see all kinds of beautiful cracks in the glow. That's why you want to do infrared imaging, because infrared imaging will give you a notion of how much heat is there. I mean, again, this is lava. All this black stuff here is fresh lava.
Right.
It's not lava's not necessarily growing red. So if you look at it in the
Hi, Maanyaa. Hi, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you too. Landon went for a break.
My whole everything crashed, so we might be streaming now. It might have just continued. If you refresh the stream, it might be back. Because I didn't actually stop didn't actually stop the stream.
Ah, okay. Oh, good.
So it should still be going. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're back.
Hey.
There we go. That was a whole ass hiccup on my end.
That happens, man.
Yeah, I'll have to find out what that was. I see like a tech van outside my window, but he's like they're not at my house, so I don't know if they like futz with something or if my roommate downstairs did something. I don't know.
I'm back.
We are all back. We are live.
Oh,
Huzzah.
okay. I hear you.
Yeah.
We back.
Okay. Yay.
Oops. I knocked a bunch of stuff over. Yay.
Woohoo.
Sorry, that was me. I'm the problem.
No, you're not.
That's okay. You get to say that word without trademark because you're Canadian.
I'm allowed. Okay, I can see the screen again and everything. Look at that. So hi. Where were we? Where did we left off?
We were asking that there was a question, I think, where they're saying there's a type of imaging that tells us what's going on better. And I was mentioning the thermal imaging and saying thermal imaging can give you some information, but it can also confuse you. Here's a thermal image of this fissure, right? And this red part here was that helicopter ride looking up the really flowing channel. And we can see what's happening with this spot is at the end of the front, while there's these those crusty little bits here coming out, it doesn't have much material coming down here, right? This part of the flow has sort of lost. Why? Because it started breaking out here and here. In fact, you might say that this is the more active part of the flow, but there's a recent breakout over here, which might send it down this path or not. So the notion when they said, oh, this thing's going to hit that saddle road in just a couple of days, what they didn't realize was looking back to the thermal thing, there's not much material and that the actual frontal flow is farther back. I also want to caution somebody who thinks, oh, we'll just go and walk up this road, and come over here, because it's very easy for this breakout here.
All I can think is like that old meme with Christian Bale. Walking into my shot.
Let's say you go to Cove here, and because again, distance-wise, this is not that far, and you're dumb enough to come over here to try to take pictures on your for your TikTok thing. Well, the problem is it can break out this way, head this way behind you fairly rapidly, and then cut you off. Right? Had you kind of come this way or here, you would have been caught in the middle. And unless Gandalf from the Lord of the Eagles comes and rescues your ass, you're toast.
I love that reference.
You're not Frodo, right? Don't try to hop, skip, and jump over the lava rocks. You don't got hobbit feet.
I love it.
When we approach the lava stream to do sampling, right? There's all kinds of things including a second helicopter ready there to come and harness, pick you up. There is radio communication, you have gas masks, you have heat shields, all kinds of stuff. And even then it's touch and go. And there's somebody who is looking at upstream to say, if they all of a sudden see a flow rate, right? If you're trying to sample over here and someone up here spots a change in flow, like it decreases, they'll say, time to get out of there because it's doing something different, right? So
you don't know what's happening. Yeah.
And you can easily die. Even if you're sitting here between two flows, the gas can overcome you and kill you.
Oh yeah, you will, because there will be lack of oxygen. So you will pass out.
Or too much sulfur dioxide and your lungs will eat out and so forth. So bad idea. So someone else was asking another question?
So, well, I think they were clarifying their previous question, so I'm just double checking with them right now to make sure their first question was covered properly. But their second question was they also wondered if, Landon, you've heard of any stories of people falling into basically lava sinkholes. I feel like you'd be falling pretty far. It gets hot.
They're I think the frozen holes are much more hazardous, right? There are chambers where it's decades old and the top of the rock is really fragile. You fall into a hole. There's some spots up in Kilauea that are pretty hazardous. So I want to show you, by the way, what the gas looks like. So this is showing you over a period of a couple hours the gas coming from Kilauea in Mauna Loa, and you can see the downstream volcanic gas. So when we talk about those 100,000 tons plus of stuff, a lot of it, what's showing here is concentration, not amount.
Oh, okay, okay.
Of
so stuff. Me and Maanyaa just did the same thing. Oh yeah, okay.
Right, here's SO4, so a little bit of H2, and you get sulfuric acid, right? It's nasty stuff. And if you look at intensity of stuff, red is pretty bad. Purple is toasty.
Oh yeah.
Right, as in your lungs are toast. Right, you don't want to be.
You're gone. You're gone.
Yes, this is stuff here. So you can see. This is the current trade winds. Now, all it takes is for a storm to pass by Hawaii, and these trade winds, the winds shift, and all of a sudden it's coming. So if you come up here thinking you're okay, and the storm, trade winds shift, you could be under a very unexpected high intensity SO4 cloud. The moisture in the air will end up causing you to breathe sulfuric acid, and
oh my fucking lord!
Let's just say you won't have a good time. So
the chemical formula is
I gotta get
H2S plus H2O gives you H2SO4
and gives you dead.
Yes,
and gives you dead.
This
kind of reminds at high enough concentrations.
This kind of reminds me of like when you use ammonia for refrigeration at plants. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to have wind socks on your roofs because you want to know what the wind direction is if there's a leak, because you don't want to evacuate your people and walk straight into an ammonia cloud and everybody's passed out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what it reminded me of. Just a
if we look downstream, we can see that the major trade winds are heading this way. If a storm goes past it, those winds will head up towards Honolulu, right? And you get the VOG stuff here. And so we see again that downwind from Fissure 3, which is about here where my let's zoom in a bit. Fissure 3 is right in this area, but also the summit has a lot of gas coming out as well. That this is kind of a bad sign. And people in Kailua Kona, I mean, they're not doing so bad, but again, people with asthma, people sensitive lungs, people who might have emphysema, young children. This is not you're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
Now again,
I think so.
Go ahead.
What would work is if you're living in an area where you think that gas cloud is coming over, get respirator masks and have like filters for your organic and acids to filter it through. Because what people do is sometimes they get the respiratory masks, but they get the wrong filters. They get them for either dust or something like that because they're cheaper. So be careful of what filters you get. But still, that's not a ticket to just like to just like climb up near any lava flow and start taking pictures for your TikTok. No, that's just if you are a resident in that area and you want to protect yourself and your children and your family, or someone who has like lung issues, that would be the best way to go about it.
Yes, and as Maanyaa said, an N95 mask is not going to help you. A painter's mask is not going to help you. You need specific things that have material to try to neutralize some of the acid, and then it only works as long as they have material capacity to neutralize, right?
Yeah.
When so one of the things that we do is we have gas meters with us, with alarms that go off saying level is getting too high.
The ppm, the parts per million. Yeah.
Put on your mask and get the hell out of there. Not putting your mask and continue to be a tourist.
Yes, exactly. Because so these filters have a lifetime, right? They can't be used like forever, and it depends on the area you are in, the parts per million in the air, and that's how quickly your filter will saturate itself. So
yes,
and then that depending on that, you'll have to that frequently change them. So if you're going to so we have done exposure monitoring.
Go ahead, as you're saying.
So
you know this stuff, so go ahead.
Yeah, so what we do is it's part of our like annual plan to call in like independent occupational hygienists and do an exposure monitoring once every year about the chemicals that we use on various stuff. I'm not going to go into too much detail unless someone tries to look for me. But we use chemicals, and so our people get exposed to the vapors. So we have a quality system that's in place to deal with it and to measure it and everything to make sure the exposure is down, like bare minimum. But then we have to make sure that every year we do an independent exposure monitoring ourselves, like using an independent party to get a certification that yes, that quality system is working. So when you're doing exposure monitoring, it will tell you like over a period of 8 hours what's the ppm and the exposure depending on the type of chemicals you're using, and then they will give you suggestions based on that, what type of filters you need, masks, etc., etc., etc.
And as you know, gas masks slow down the rate at which you get into trouble. They don't prevent trouble.
Exactly.
And another thing is that depending upon if you are not trained on how to put on a mask and how to test the seal, leaks can become fatal.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's a basic test that you can do yourself, but if you're really in this field and you have to wear respiratory masks, you have to be properly fitted for them by an independent party. Will come in and check it for you, someone who's certified to do that, and they'll give you they'll teach you the basics of how to look after your masks and how long can you use a respirator, what you should do if you have to change the filters and stuff, and how to do it and all that. So you need.
Yes.
So when are we gonna get Landon to watch Dr. Stone and like tell us how much of it is accurate and how much of it isn't accurate, and because the whole show is basically about guy gets thrown way into the future where all technology is almost essentially gone, and so he's basically in the Stone Age of technology, and he's bringing all of modern technology with him, and so he's like, we can do this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is going to be awesome.
So
I'm gonna make Landon watch anime.
At the center of the purple blob there, they were measuring 1,100 micrograms per cubic meter.
That's a lot.
And that you have a bad time, as they say in South Park. You're gonna have a bad time. And the other thing, of course, is that you probably at that point want to have a full facial mask because your eyes are going to be burning.
Yeah.
Just because the water in your eye reacts with SO2, and now you have sulfuric acid going into your eye. And as they say in South Park, and you're not going to have a good time. You're going to have a bad time. So
having
again,
a good time.
Stop.
You'll be pizza winging your French frying. So when so it is a thing to take into account. And so some of the things that the civil authorities are doing is setting up safe shelters, right? Again, for people whose lungs are compromised. Another thing is that they've seen is Pele's hair. This is talking about the sulfur dioxide. There's all the silica stuff, all these silicates being put into the air, all that wispy stuff, and you do not want to have your lungs full of little tiny bits of silica.
Yeah, that sounds bad. Sounds real bad. Sounds like a real bad.
Even like one this much, like a pinhole size of like silica, if it gets in your lungs.
I don't know. Sounds like it would kill all the COVID.
It can start a cancerous growth. It can irritate your lungs and give you cancer. There's a reason why asbestos is being phased out from all building material now. Any exposure to it, even this, like a needle pinhole, like worth of it, like if it gets inside you, can cause cancer to you and your lungs are fucked up.
No.
So we did have another question, 2 other questions actually, but Landon, if you have another thing to add about this before we
here's about the silicosis, right? This is stuff you see called Pele's hair, right? And they're seeing stuff like, for example, people are finding this kind of stuff on the road. This is all glass fibers.
Oh yeah, nah.
And in addition to the fact of this, like stepping on glass needles, breathing this is well, you're not going to have a good time, as they say in South Park. I mean, but seriously, it is, and
sorry.
And they've been finding Pele's hair over in this region of the island. Gone. It's lofted above Mauna Kea and landed in this area here.
So, question: what did it do, like, to minimize the exposure to such stuff? Like, are there guidelines or any barriers or anything like that, or?
Well, the civil defense authorities have been sending out alerts, and they have been opening up shelters. They've been advising people who are sensitive to be able to move to shelter areas where trying to have cleaner air. Now, if it turns out that this road, the saddle road, here's the saddle road going across, gets cut off, then you're going to have this really sort of traffic jam around the bottom side here, where you don't really want to be driving
caught up in
this.
Yeah.
So some people have chosen to go on vacation.
Some people have chosen violence.
and other people are taking shelters in various spots around the island until, of course, the wind shifts.
That makes sense. That seems like a good plan. That seems like a pretty good plan.
Yeah. Of course, everyone wants to know, well, how long do they have to move? How long? When can they come back? Blah blah blah. A friend of mine who was an internet service provider was told by some people who have coffee farms up here, the Kona coffee in this region, and they were saying, hey, our internet service is out, and they're saying, well, it might be sometime before it's safe enough for us to go into your area. Why are you still there?
Oh, right.
Okay. Other questions, comments?
We got one from Intrigue Feline that says a general question, but I can't read it anymore. I can read it. I know what it says. I just can't talk. Okay. Would Landon be interested in covering historical eruptions?
Oh, yes. There's some really great historical eruptions, particularly in Hawaii and other places. Even some of the stuff, like the great stuff that Kilauea did in 69, 70, is there. If you go to the Volcanoes National Park and drive down what's called Chain or Crater Road, you go through some amazing landscapes of some of these eruptions that are that are there. There are a number of eruptions of Mauna Loa that have been quite quite spectacular in styles, and of course the great end of the Kilauea eruption as well. I'm more familiar with the Big Islands eruptions historically, and probably, for example, the whole unification of the islands came from the 1790 eruption that was responsible for a lot of the Kilauea caldera collapse and forming the big giant pit at the top of Kilauea, where Kilauea looked more Mauna Loa like, and it collapsed in 1790, destroyed an army of a leader trying to vie to rule the island.
Yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit last time.
Yeah, the other guy was saying, you're
I'm fine.
You're the big dude. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there that have had some really significant eruption stuff, and it's just it's hard to choose from as to what to do. But yes, there's some really interesting eruptions.
Requesting specifically Krakatoa, Vesuvius. Oh, is that how you say Vesuvius? I've never seen Vesuvius written down before. Oh my god! And 1902 Pele eruption.
Yep, and the 1929 Pele eruption and so forth. Yeah, there's a number of these things that are really interesting.
I'll put these in our chat so that way we have them for later that we can reference back to as potential topics.
Yeah, hindsight is sometimes pretty good from that.
Vesuvius is spelled Vesuvius. Vesuvius. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That tracks. Okay. I can't read.
One of them Latin things. Oh, yeah.
One of them Latin things. Rez for Landon asked, how much volcanic activity of this level and more intense is there on the planet at any given time, and what does it tell us about the crust or mantle-based geothermal activity in general?
As of yesterday, there are 47 volcanoes erupting on planet Earth.
That's a lot.
The number oftentimes it's like 50 to 55. When Mauna Loa started erupting about 10, 11 days ago, it was down to 43. So it is quite common to have several dozen volcanoes erupting. In fact, right now there are 3 volcanoes erupting in Antarctica alone. Right?
Yeah.
To say a volcano is erupting is like saying it's raining someplace. Right? It is a common occurrence. Now, some volcanoes put on a better show than others. Hawaiian volcanoes are relatively gentle in their stuff, that you can get quite close. Other volcanoes that are higher viscosity, higher sulfur compounds, more pasty, more explosive, get to be quite cranky, right? What's happening in so-called White Island near New Zealand, that's a cranky volcano. It's not as enjoyable. If this was a White Island thing, the area, huge area would be evacuated. Some
volcanoes like yeet.
Yeah. So in that sense, and we're thankful this is not Iceland, where you have giant glacial cap things that the volcanoes create these massive flood stuff. So in some sense, we are very fortunate that we can be relatively close to active eruption, a major eruption, not just a little piddly thing, major eruption, and enjoy that. So in some ways, Pele is actually quite kind to us and gives us insight into things otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, that does definitely seem to be the case. So we get a lot of information and relatively safely from Pele that we wouldn't be able to get from other places.
Yeah. And this is also why one of the first things I helped do was establish a network for these cameras, because this kind of monitoring gives them an idea about what's happening where they've made use of drones to install cameras now, and that has helped as well. Getting information is really key. And then people who's trying not to breathe this stuff, or people who are worried about the road being cut off, emergency services, so forth. These are things as well that getting the civil authorities information is quite important.
Can we do the Brady Bunch thing?
So again, it's a one thing you've heard on this show time and time again is a volcano erupting is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that
in
Hawaii
fact, if they stopped erupting, then we would have some problems.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we're like, I mean, what?
There are more volcanoes erupting in Antarctica than there are on the Big Island.
Can I segue? Can I segue off of Antarctica?
Sure.
Next Wednesday, Landon and Dapper, History Channel, Aliens in Antarctica.
Oh my lord, yes.
We're gonna get angry, Landon.
Yes.
I'm not. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen?
Landon's gonna pull a Pele, and he's gonna be like, "Don't tell me what to do." You don't know.
Well, I'm counting on a many million-year-old dinosaur giving us some more perspective on things, right? That's what I'm hoping.
There we go.
Where's Dapper? Where is he? Dapper.
I'm gonna give Dapper like a permanent link to buy vMix that doesn't have like a video, so his disembodied voice can just come in whenever he feels like.
Yes. So as I say, it is again, to me, volcanoes are things of beauty, and if you're not stupid, they're generally not dangerous, right? Now, it is the case of people living nearby that they can be impacted sometimes quite significantly. But if you live downslope from one of the world's most active volcanoes, maybe you shouldn't complain when it erupts. Maybe just if. But that being said, there are services to help people in need. There's certainly disaster services that are being put into place, and fortunately, the county of Hawaii, that's the Big Island, has had a lot of plans in place that they're doing so they're not caught off guard.
I think that there's definitely a big difference between being stupid and then just being caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, like being unlucky.
Yes, and I think I would also recommend at this point, don't travel on the Saddle Road unless you're commuting. There are hospital workers and caretakers and so forth that travel across there to help people, emergency services. Instead, go on to YouTube and look at what's happening. Don't be part of the looky-loo. Don't be one of those people that they have to rescue.
Yeah.
Because you get into trouble. Or you slow down vital services. That's an important thing.
Don't be a strain on the system, bro.
Now, so, well, boy, have you been watching over here for what's happening over this spot?
Where? Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, bottom right corner. There's like a little orange blip that if you guys can see it on the outside.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I've been trying to figure out what that is. I mean, some of that might be a person.
Yeah, somebody asked if it was a person or if it was people, but it also hasn't moved. And we've been live for like 2 hours. So this guy's just been standing there for 2 hours? Oh, whoa. They moved.
It does.
They moved.
It does look like it's moving.
It's two people making out. All right, chat. Who do you think that is? I also have a question that says, "What about?"
Sure.
How dare you make me read this? I can't read this. Hold on, I'm gonna send it to Maanyaa, and I'm gonna make Maanyaa read it. Here you go, Maanyaa. I sent it to you in Discord. I'm being bullied. Chat's bullying me.
Eyjafjallajökull? Eyjafjallajökull? Is that what it is?
I'm assuming they're names of volcanoes.
Let's see.
Did I? And Popocatépetl. Is that what it is?
Okay, so
I hope I pronounced them right.
So the second one that begins in the E is an Icelandic volcano that I know of, and they are still quite active volcanoes.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one I believe is I believe the first one is in Mexico, central Mexico.
Okay. So, for anybody who wants to read it, I'll put it on screen real quick so you guys can see. But go ahead, Landon. Sorry.
And so, with that set, I think it's currently in a fairly. It has an ongoing eruption right now. It started in 2004, the one in Mexico, and it's been going on and off for quite a while. You can see pictures, you can see fumaroles coming over it. So let me give you an example of something where I can pull up here. This is what it sort of looks like right now.
Oh, wow.
It's got a funeral going there.
Oh.
That's in central Mexico. So, wow. So that's a bit. But yes, they're by staying here. The issue is that their proximity to populations it can be a concern, and certainly as well in Iceland, there are areas where some of the stuff, the floods can come from those volcanoes.
So is it less of a question about whether or not the volcano is a danger, or we're just too close to it as people?
A little bit, and I surprisingly, the hazard level of Mauna Loa has gone from red to orange. You see that, but it's erupting. And the answer is, well, because there's less of a chance of, they think there's less of a chance of it having a collapse and a major ash fall, right? The color codes that the U.S. uses tends to be around, will it disrupt airplane traffic and send ash, far afield. Remember that Icelandic volcano that ended up having, dusting in places in Europe and causing the Mid-Atlantic traffic to go through. That's the thing they think there's less of a chance of Mauna Loa doing it now. However, some people are concerned about the amount that the summit is sinking in. And that was back to the time when the lava was really flowing out quite fast, and they were concerned that it was going to drain and that the top would collapse in to do a big implosive eruption like happened in Krakatoa, but it's more likely to be a slow thing, like what happened with
Kilauea. Do you find that the more dangerous is less of the lava or magma itself and more to do with like the gases and any kind of ensuing shickety shimmies?
Sure, because it's, unless you're downslope from a big giant pyroclastic flow that's heading your way,
right?
You're able to sort of move out of the way of lava. The gases are harder to deal with, and the impacts are can be long term. And then of course, ash explosions that send ash into the air that can go far afield can be even more impactful.
That makes sense. Well, we should probably start wrapping up here and talk about who's got what coming up next. Well, we know Landon's going to be back here on Wednesday. Me and Maanyaa are going to be live tomorrow to talk about, oh God, basically what was it? NBC. NBC is basically writing hit pieces on people over stupid Amber Heard shit. God. So we're gonna talk about like what is a hit piece and who does this. One of the things that I think is probably important to think about when you're reading an article is who does this article help? Like who is this article for? And so we're going to kind of talk about and explore that a little bit. And on Wednesday with Landon, we're going to talk about Ancient Aliens and History Channel.
Yes.
That will be interesting.
I
have no idea where that's going to go. But stay
poorly,
because you never know.
There's also going to be another additional debate hub. There's two debate hubs next week and an additional Dumpfec Friday this week. So Dumpfec Friday tomorrow. Then we've got a debate hub where we're going to be talking about sort of the TTRPG community and some of the problems this has, or like with individuals and sort of how to respond to that and how to navigate that as a community and how to navigate like certain like apologies or like how to rectify damage that's been done potentially. And so that'll be fun and interesting. And then Tuesday is going to be a regular Tuesday Talks, but I'm going to be going through my saved bookmarks on Twitter, so you guys will get to see like some really old stuff that I just never found a good place to put stuff. There's also some Vic Mignogna updates that are going to be nestled in there, boy. And you're not going to be happy about it. I'm not happy about it.
Oh,
and
boy.
So that's what we've got planned so far. Please check out our other videos that have come out just recently. I think that they're really interesting, and some of them are like it's hard to figure out sometimes, I think, what is drama and what's stuff that needs to be talked about. So like, at what point does you questioning someone's behavior where they may or may not be committing a crime roll over into just being petty or it just being drama, right? And I think there's a gradient. I think there's a gradient there.
Yeah.
Commenting on what a politician is doing, is that drama or is that politics or both? Right.
All of the above. Who knows? But yeah, Landon, where else are you going to be besides anywhere? What are you up to? How's your weekend? What do you got plans?
I have.
What are you eating for dinner?
So yes, there'll probably be, if you go to Jess's food channel, you might see me showing up making dinner. Some of the cooks in our thing here are heading on vacation, and so I will be coming into the kitchen and saying, I need to cook something. I don't know what I'm doing. Watch me figure it out.
Ooh,
nice.
So on her food, on her channel, the Discord channel, there's a thing, #food, and sometimes it's the end product. Sometimes I need to have almost like a GoPro camera on my head to watch, because it's hard to take my phone and take a picture and upload it and then try to cook at the same time.
You could get like a little stand for your phone and just stream it from your phone straight to the Discord.
Yeah.
If you want.
That's a thing to do. I'll talk to you about doing that, but that'll be some food stuff. I'll be in supportive role in the in trying to help networks to get information out of the. By the way, I think there's an earthquake going on. Look at how much it's vibrating.
Yeah, it's shaking. It's getting that shimmy.
Yeah, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah.
All right. Yes. So some of that stuff. There's also some really interesting stuff happening with data with the James Webb Telescope. There are things out in the universe that continue to make it our favorite universe. So look for some potential announcements there regarding what happens with the Webb. The Artemis program is delivering good stuff. I'm really looking forward to that. Wasn't that fun to see Earth way back there?
Yes.
Moon in front and Earth.
It gives you a perspective, isn't it? You're like, what the fuck am I doing on this tiny planet in a tiny galaxy in this vast universe?
Circle jerking pennies. That's what we're doing.
I couldn't help but to wave at it, right? When I see the Earth there, I mean, their tendency to go and wave and say hi.
I can see my O's from here.
for stuff. But yes, so continue to watch the wonderful things with space. Try not to be too caught up in personally in the drama yourself. You're better off leaving it to professionals like Chesh. Check out Doesnt Friday because because
that's illegal.
She and Maanyaa are professionally trained to examine things that are at the different end of the intelligence scale.
That's going on my resume.
I'm dead.
But seriously, and so what do we think? Okay, so given how wrong our guesstimates were last month, next month, right? Well, let's if we do show up a month from now.
Yes.
What do we think is going to happen? By the way, I should before I go, we really do just super quickly. Kilauea itself is that's the thing. Kilauea itself is
wow, that's beautiful.
Not that active, right? This is going to Kilauea. Where is Kilauea here? This is the Mauna Loa stuff. This is the live view here. That's Pele's hair. This is more Pele's hair. Stuff you don't want to breathe. Where is Madam Pele? So there's some really nice stuff happening here. Yes, you can see some of the views from Mauna Loa of Kilauea from Mauna Loa's eruptions, but from Kilauea itself, essentially it's down to like 300 to 350 tons per day, right? It's every show has been cut in half.
Oh wow!
13,400 to 7 here to 300, 350. The caldera floor has not risen since September 16th that we can tell, and so the lava volume is basically stagnant, right?
Yeah.
And you look at here's the sulfur emission 316 tons. I mean, Pele's farting that in an instance every amount of second. On the other hand, look at the deflation-inflation events of underneath the Kilauea caldera, right? That's much more active of the DI events than we have seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so to say it's over because it's only a couple hundred tons a day of gas, is contradicts this thing where the magma chamber is turning over quite rapidly. And if you look at the thermal maps, there still is. Here's Gilligan's Island here, still there. This is the lava flow inside the area. Well, I mean, this is all lava lake. While this lake hasn't risen, it still is quite active. So lots of earthquakes still in this region down here of stuff coming up here at the top of Mauna Loa, Kilauea. So it still is quite wiggly, quite a lot of stuff, and it's just that this is what Kilauea looks like right now, right? There's a current live shot of the current little ponding area. And that was we thought that was spectacular, but then Mauna Loa kind of stole the show. So Kilauea is still erupting.
Yep.
So next month, will Kilauea be more active, less active, stop? What do you think?
More active. I think Kilauea is going to want to compete with Pele for attention.
Well, Pele is going to be going back and forth, but yes, I would. What do you think, Maanyaa?
I think it will stabilize and it will simmer down.
So I think Kilauea will be about in the same state as it was now. So Chess thinks it's going to increase and be invigorated by the Mauna Loa eruptions. Maanyaa think it's going to simmer down even lower, and I think it's going to be about the same. So,
and we're all going to be wrong, so make sure to tune in next time and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you make sure you know when we're going to be find out we're all fucking wrong.
And finally, for Mauna Loa, will Mauna Loa's eruption be still ongoing? Will it be more vigorous, less vigorous?
The next time we have one of these is we have like a month, right? That's about the amount of time that we'll have. So we
we'll
think
go from
it'll
like 10,
still
11
be
days to, because remember, it started on the 27th of November, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be 4 times longer than it's been erupting so far. So question 1, will Mauna Loa be erupting next, a month?
I am gonna guess that it's going to chill out. We're gonna think it stopped, and then it's gonna go boom, like even bigger boom.
Ooh. Maanyaa?
I think it'll stay like it'll stay at the same eruption rate. I think so.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So
like
Chess thinks it'll sucker us into thinking it's going to go down, and then it'll come back with a vengeance. You think it's going to be about the same as it is now?
Yeah. So like it will come down, but then when it comes back up, it will be at the same level, not like just suckering us into a boom, like Chess said.
Yeah, I think I agree with Maanyaa that I think it's going to be
cowards
about the same rate. The other kind of question, this is a yes or no, will the saddle road be cut off? Will the lava reach the saddle road?
Ooh.
I say yes.
Cut off that.
I say yes.
Maanyaa says yes.
With lava, no, I think it's going to go a different direction.
I agree. I think that the tubes are going to keep breaking and going to side to side.
It's going to break off.
It's forward. Yeah, its forward advance is going to be harder and harder to get forward because it's going to keep finding interesting spots to go. But okay. So if it does, will it go to the west or to the east? Right? Because it's
that I don't know. I have no idea. No clue. Yeah. It's gonna go up.
Well, you heard it first here in terms of our predictions. Please come back next month to laugh at how wrong we were.
Yeah.
Come in. Above all, don't volcano explain to Pele. She's going to do what she does.
And don't go swimming. Our always standing rule: don't go swimming in lava.
Yes.
No.
And don't breathe large portions of sulfur dioxide and sulfur.
And there's also an unnamed tavern next week.
Ooh.
Are there things going on in the world that the tavern might have to drink on?
Nah. not one thing. There's nothing.
There's. I'm hoping, by the way, the tavern folks can focus on some non-US things because, believe it or not, there are things that happen in the world that are not in the United States. I know it's hard to believe.
America, not America.
Not America.
Well, we got some interesting sources. I went around and looked around to see what we could find. So hopefully people will be able to bring some of their own topics. I've heard some stuff about Indonesia, which is kind of interesting. But we will see you guys on next Saturday. For that, we'll see you on Wednesday for more Landon. We'll see you tomorrow for more Maanyaa. And I'll see you on Tuesday for some gaming shit.
Yeah.
See you guys.
The calendar is full.
Bye.
The calendar.
Holidays are coming.
Yeah. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.